Got it in one.
So
Did you see me having to bring up my phone because it was not responding to the prompter if my phone was on the desk out of shot? And me like constantly panicking and still nailing on my lines. Still nailing on my lines.
Got
I'm
it
the
all.
best. I'm the best. Hold on. Victory lap.
it's Bluetooth. You
I
don't.
don't-
You shouldn't have to point it at the thing.
I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like, literally, I was jamming down here. The reason it stopped responding is because, like, that's why it didn't work. And, like, I don't know if you saw, but, like, a couple times I was, like, near panic because, like, it was just not going.
Yeah, it wouldn't start or it wouldn't stop.
Yeah. But we got it. We got it. That
I wonder
phone
if it's
was
some-
sort of visible. Yes.
Yeah, the phone was definitely visible.
I wonder if
but-
it's just maybe it's the version of Bluetooth in that old iPad.
Yeah.
It could definitely be. We have had wonkiness with the iPad being like, no, I'm not going to connect
Yeah.
Yeah.
until you restart things.
Yeah. Oh, Kathleen is so humble. Yeah. Because I pulled off something incredibly difficult, which
Yeah.
was like trying to manage technology while still reading flawlessly.
Yeah. No, the fact that it all came out of your mouth so well, it's like you're not like, I'm not gonna get upset. I'm gonna keep hitting this button, but I'm not gonna get upset.
I'm going to be constant. I'm going to be reading and speaking and also doing something completely different and also have my brain also while I'm trying to read and speak being like, this is not working, Kathleen.
Yeah.
You
Let's
move
not
it higher,
panic,
lower. That was hard. That was really hard.
Good for you.
Blunt, rude, and humble featuring me.
So yeah, I think
Be nice, chat.
Hey, Paul said I was blunt and rude.
Fair.
Although I guess Paul just took the suggestion.
actually, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the wireless lights, which
Oh yeah.
for
Might
some
be
reason the
interfering?
one above beige is off. When did that happen?
Oh,
Cool.
womp.
Maybe the prompter
Turned
turned
it
off with the lights.
That would be amazing.
We've been having the lights are kind of that doesn't. I hope that.
Thank
Isn't
you,
indicative
Foxmore.
of a future problem.
No, and also I just hope that doesn't make things look. It doesn't look too bad. I guess it looked a little. It looks a little darker on your side of the thing, but
I'm wearing lighter clothing, so maybe it helps balance the scene. I don't know.
one cool feature that I have seen that we do have with the wireless things, not through Bluetooth, but something that I found out, which is fun, is that the on-off button. Here, I can actually demonstrate for you. Let me turn off the local recording. I guess we're good for the recording there.
We didn't have to redo anything.
Yeah.
I said except for the intro 3 times. Yeah, I mean,
If nothing else, it's the best thing to redo, right? Rather than having to do a story
there
in the
was
middle.
some popping in Kathleen's first story.
I didn't notice that, but I mean, obviously, Kathleen, like your hand does come up during your story, but
I mean, there's not much I can do about that. It was either have my hand come into shot or to have to restart. So I'm fine with it because the thing worked.
but yeah, so
some people said they didn't hear a pot.
so there's the the light behind the TV there that
Yeah.
these did a little adjustment to. Obviously, it can change to different colors that you've seen on different shows, and there's also the TV there. If I turn the TV, if I do those in the wrong order, like for instance, if it's the way it is now, where the light is on, and then I try to turn the TV on or off, it turns out the on-off button from the remote control for the TV happens to also be the button that activates, or happens to be the exact frequency that activates the demo mode on the
Oh, good.
background
Do we
thing.
want to turn the light on over beige?
Yeah, probably should.
Womp womp. Kazaman 20A has thrown out 100 bits for my awesome victory laps. Thank you,
Yeah.
Kazaman. That is a bad, amazing design. I just think that they were not designed to go together.
I guess there are only so many infrared frequencies that you can use.
I mean, we could probably bury the IR like way behind it, and then you'd have to go over to actually adjust it as opposed to sitting from there. But
Anyway, all right. Well, let's. Yeah, we can talk about some other stuff. Let me come over there.
how do we turn this on anyway?
The button on the top.
Oh, I see.
Again, it can be theoretically controlled by Bluetooth.
Or by
But-
a button. Ooh, damn.
That's probably adds a lot of light.
Oh yeah, now you can see my hair against the TV. That's up to you.
Well, I mean, we basically have to do the whole thing again.
That's a good point.
The wide. Well, we'd have to do the wides and all of Beavis stories again.
That's basically the whole thing, right?
Yeah. It is okay.
Yeah, too many wireless things, and also wireless things that are not well suited for each other.
Let's get you a chair.
Yeah, I can.
No. If we do this right, I can give you my chair, and Kathleen can give me her chair. And I don't. Can you reach a chair from there?
Yep.
Okay. Bury one in this corner, I guess. Whoa! Right.
Yeah, I've got that chair cranked. Because I'm a tiny, short lady. Actually, what it is it's a sort of a double whammy combination. Is that one? I'm much shorter than most everybody here because I'm only 5'6", and everybody else is like at least 5'10", 5'11", I think.
Yeah, I come in and just scraping 6 feet. Yeah.
And you're not even like you're just average height around here.
That's the weird thing too, right? It's like Paul, you're like 5'10", 5'11", right?
Paul's 5'11".
Yeah, and it's like you're almost the shortest of all the boys here, which is weird because it's like that's
really tall.
Yeah, that's not
above
average. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I am the average for a North American Caucasian male.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Which puts me the shortest.
Yeah, because Paul is 5'11". You're
Just barely 6 feet, but not
6
quite.
feet. Ian's
Yeah.
what, 6'1"?
He's like almost 6'3", I think.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Graham is 6'3", Adam is 6'4", James is 6'1".
Yeah.
Who else is there?
Cameron is 6 feet easy.
Cameron, I think Cameron's 6'3".
Oh, is he?
He's really tall. Maybe he's 6'2". Maybe he's slightly everybody is over 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Matt is the same height as me. But,
Yes.
Oh, really?
But then he left. So
Yeah, he moved to Vancouver, that bastard.
Jaron Morgan must have, and Bill obviously made that hard.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is like, look at how everybody is. It's like, no.
Giants, the lot of you. Yeah, everybody here is really effing tall. Oh, how tall is Ben? Ben is more average height. He might be like 5'11".
I think he's 5'10", 5'11". I'm not sure if he is 6 feet. I thought he might be, though.
But I mean, Corey is also really tall because
Yes.
she's like 5'10" as well.
Yep.
She's super tall.
Yep.
But me
It's
and
you and
Heather are
Heather.
normal size. But I have a really short torso. I sit in a chair and it's just like. All right. Ben is GB. Isn't Alex 5'10"? I thought Alex was taller than that. I don't know. Everybody is really tall.
such is the way.
We'll have to do one of those diagrams where we all line up in order of height. We take
Yeah,
our
yeah.
shirts off and line up in order of height. This is an anime thing. The characters are always drawn in
Can
order
I get
of
your
height.
measurements?
Yeah.
Can I send you to the nurse's office to get measurements?
There's a anime trope of if there's lots of girls who appear in a series, the artist, the illustrator will draw them in order of height and then also have them in order of also with bust cup size as well.
I was going to say, what aspect of us showing our different heights
Requires us taking our shirts off?
taking your shirt off?
Well, it's all part of the trope,
I can see taking your shoes off.
right? Actually, we should all take our shoes off for that. That makes a very good
I mean,
sense.
we did that picture way a long time ago. I'm sure somebody can dig it up somewhere. That's on the season 1 or season 2 DVD on the back of the
Oh yeah,
thing,
all
the
of you
men
guys
of Loading
shirtless.
Ready Run. It's
And,
was
Andy's
all
in
of us
there?
back in the day,
Nice.
being all like
Wait, that's
better
the wrong
shape.
app.
being not better shape, just less shape. Like we weren't
there's
we
less
weren't
of-
we
less
weren't
of you.
buffer. We were just skinnier.
Right, that's fair. Yeah.
Anything that looks like muscles is actually just underlying bone structure. I
Right.
think.
Yeah. Do you have the chat up, Paul?
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
do.
move this so
Okay.
me and Beige can see it. God, I wish I could make this font bigger.
It's really weird, actually. I thought you could do that.
Yeah, we were doing some kind of a boy band pose, and I arted in.
I guess not. I can work off of my phone.
Anyway, it was very silly.
So let's talk about our stories. First one, this Valve art was just this guy used to work at Valve. He just updated his portfolio website, and there's just a whole bunch of Team Fortress character concepts for female characters, which is really cool. And like this, we only have his thing to go on, and it was part of like an internal pitch. But if you know about how Valve works, that's how things get done at Valve. Is like, hey, I want to do this thing, and you put together your internal pitch, and then if you can get enough people to work on it, then it happens because they got sort of a very flat management system. So obviously it didn't happen, but I think it's neat. But I think, was it you who said it took them like frickin' 5 years to do all the Meet the Team videos? Yeah. So I mean,
so like a whole new set of Meet the whatever would be probably, they'd still be, even if they had implemented it, they'd still be working on that.
Yeah,
that'd definitely keep people employed, I guess.
Yeah, it's what I'm curious about with this particular. With this thing is like from the information we have about the concept and stuff, we don't know when these were proposed as concepts. So like whether this was like while Team Fortress was actually being made originally, or whether this was like later on they were saying like, hey, we should add a bunch of people.
Let's see. This is the Sonic the Hedgehog story with the headline: Enter 10,000 cold steals. Good grief. So yeah, if you're a Sonic Forces fan, this is kind of like, or
I mean,
if you're
if you're excited
fan,
for Sonic Forces.
Temper that. And the story is very funny because Paul was sort of describing the story to me, and they go into the story and they're like, oh, I've seen things that I just can't even imagine that I would have seen on the internet.
Yeah, he does. It's a combination of course, it's a Japanese developer, so it's a combination of like, you know, the sort of slightly stilted language of the translation and some sort of PR type.
There's the underlying subtext. Right?
Yeah,
it's
reading between the lines, there's just like, yes, I have seen things that I would not have expected.
Yeah.
And maybe I wish I hadn't.
So very creative fans.
And let's maybe not give them the tools to be creative.
But most of
in our
them
game.
look basically like like the same body shape as Sonic.
Yeah, we don't want to say they're traces or anything, but I do think it's funny though, because I'm like, that certainly seems like Monster Factory territory. Like that would have been really cool to see. You know, you can do whatever you want, but then we would be like weird spaghetti creatures and stuff.
I mean, who knows? I trust that the brothers McElroy will find a way to abuse that creator, or we won't see an episode if it doesn't work. But
I mean, it sounds like it's like you can choose which one of the like what animal you want to be, like which one of the characters you're going to sort of start with, and then you can like change their color and set accessories and things. But I don't think you can really mess with stuff a lot.
They should build in a personality quiz, and then you take that, and then it spits out, here's what your Sonic Sona is.
I mean, I'm sure there's Sonic Sona personality quizzes online already.
This would be official, like the Sorting Hat.
Ard Reed says, I like how it's very specific about restricted body size. That's honestly because I don't think they want people to give Sonic pendulous titties. Like, I'm not joking. Just like huge stonking tits.
Especially when the weird thing is like you look at Sonic and he has a really weird body shape. And like they changed it about 5 or 6 years ago, right? There was like old Sonic and new Sonic.
Oh yeah.
New Sonic is kind of different, but I mean, there's the thing, I think we talked about it on like an Unskippable or something, where it's like, if you really look at Sonic, for one thing, his eyes are one eye with two pupils. Like his eyes join in the middle.
Yeah, it ain't right.
It's one of those things that once you see it, it's like the way Mickey Mouse's ears always face the camera in 3D things.
He doesn't actually have knees, does he?
Sonic?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just noodle appendages.
Like when he starts running, his legs usually kind of turn into like a blur, so you don't really get to see that.
But that would mean if he doesn't actually have knees, it means that his legs and arms are essentially just tentacles. I like where this is going. Anyway.
So, speaking of where things are going to possibly... I actually don't think that Bluehole can really do anything about this. There is some talk online that, well, because PUBG is built in Unreal Engine 4, which of course Unreal is running, that unless Epic's sort of business is properly divided, aka the people who are doing customer support and like providing service to Bluehole because they are paying clients for Unreal, information crossing to the development team, right, who are working on Fortnite. I mean, and realistically, Epic's a very large company. Probably not.
Yeah,
right.
I'm sure they aren't like the same people.
No, they wouldn't be the same people. Like, they work in totally different departments. And, like, you know, if you're providing a service and then doing your own game, which Epic has done for years, although the people who made Too Human did sue them about this.
It's the combination of, it's like providing the engine, and apparently the like Bluehole has been working like unusually close with Epic
Oh, really?
in the you know, for optimizing their engine and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like, it isn't just that they grabbed the Unreal Engine off the shelf and started working with it. They've been working quite closely with Epic doing this. So the combination of that, and then Fortnite and the Battle Royale thing where Fortnite and the developers of Fortnite actually saying that, like, PUBG was an explicitly saying that PUBG is an inspiration for it. I can see how that will be
Grating, yeah.
aggravating, you know.
I mean, though, but it's like we said in the thing. It's like you can't just say, "Hey, wait, we are already making a battle royale game. We're working very closely with you to help improve whatever." It's not like Fortnite's going to be like, "Oh, well, you know," like the team would be like, "Oh, we're working great. Let's steal all their ideas." It's like those ideas have kind of just been out for a very long time, floating around.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if there's, say, like...
The idea of like being in a battle bus that is airborne, I'm like, battle bus, and then you
Well, it's a plane.
then you use a hang glider to glide into where it is you're going to land. I'm kind of like, that's a little on the nose in terms of copying the thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it's hard to, you know, it's as I think we've said on Checkpoint before, it's like, you know, I think even Bluehole would be comfortable saying that PUBG is more of like a refinement of existing
Battle
things.
Royale
Like,
games.
it's not like they came up with the concept of a free-for-all battle.
Absolutely not.
Right, but they, you know, they really refined it, and they hit at the right time, and they had the right mix of features and stuff. You know, there's all sorts of things that make PUBG work, but as a concept, I don't think they would get anywhere trying to sue somebody about it.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Because then
They
you could bring prior art out for basically every part of it. It's just the combination of all of it together and the refinement that's what makes PUBG work. But I don't think you can really copyright that.
No, you can't copyright an idea. You can, like, if there's like code or core gameplay loops or something like that, like there have been successful. Somebody, a Seattle developer named Spryfox, did actually sue someone for copying their game successfully, because what happened is Spryfox was in talks to have the game published on iOS, and they decided not to go with the publisher. And so what the publisher did is, because they had seen a bunch of the assets and the code, was they hired another company to make, like, basically a copy game.
Yeah.
And Spryfox was like, whoa, and sued them and won.
good.
Right?
Yeah.
But like,
And like that was way more, and that was
yeah,
way more
but,
explicit.
But like
too.
that is the sort of level of where you can sue somebody for copying your game, is like basically that they had proof that the company, you know, basically there was proof that the company had copied the concept and the execution.
Yeah.
Whereas
And
this
the-
is just sort of concept copying.
And also the idea that they also had proof that the company used information gleaned from the
yes.
because
And
whereas like the thing with
from their negotiations, yeah.
you know, like the thing with Fortnite and like the stuff that is in Fortnite is not like everyone knows how PUBG works. Like the thing with Spryfox was because this copy game came out before the actual original game came out.
And PUBG's at a point, like, in its evolution where apparently it's not done, but it's almost done. It's been almost done, it sounds like, for a while. And you can't, like, they've been, like we've said, they've been building on the backs of all these other games that have been coming out. But somehow, despite not being done, they've rocketed to the top of the popularity in things that people love to play because of how ridiculous it is.
Well, and it's a good combination of features and aesthetics and stuff like that. Whereas, like, I look at Fortnite, I'm like, this seems very cartoony to me, and it seems less serious.
And there's like
It's definitely cartoon.
And I think there's like a thing to be said where it's like, you know, for one thing, the audience is going to say, you know, oh, I want to play the original, I don't want to play the copy. But then a lot of people might be like, I'd rather play the copy because it's going to be done and polished faster, so I'd rather just get in there and play the copy. Or there's more chances for me to get better matches if I play PUBG 'cause it's out now, or the community in PUBG maybe sucks, so I want to play on Fortnite. It's like, ultimately, it does come down to the market choosing who's going to help this game win. And I can understand why Bluehole's salty about it, but it's also like,
Well, I mean-
you don't really have a legal leg to stand. You can just be
No.
mad about it.
I mean, Bluehole is salty because they're working super closely with Epic Games. They're paying them a lot of money for support on Unreal and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And Epic was like, hey, your game seems like it's doing really well. And apparently they just like did this Battle Royale mod in a month, right? And just like did a Battle Royale mode for their own game, basically being like, hey, all of those things that you did well, let's copy copy a bunch of them and put them into our game.
Yeah.
And so I can see exactly why Bluehole is salty about this. It's
Absolutely.
like, I'm paying you money and now you're ripping me off.
And I think Bluehole has a perfect right to be salty, and I think
Annoyed.
it's kind of a dick move by Epic, but not legally a dick move.
Correct. I think that is where the razor falls. This is kind of a jerky move, but it's not an illegal jerky move because they're not.
And
Like if it turns out they've lifted bunches of the code, like
Yeah.
but I don't think that's going to happen. Epic's too big
Yeah.
of a company for that.
It is funny to think about the fact that PUBG's saying we're going to pay you a whole bunch of money to improve things
Also, that would
work
be
for.
stupid.
Yeah. To improve things that work that we need for our game, and Epic says that's great. I'm glad we have all these new improvements now. Now we're going to roll all those improvements into the thing we've been working on.
Exactly.
They've been paying us to work on improvements to the game that we're hoping to shut them down with,
And
sounds like a massive dick move, but
Yeah.
it's business.
And the aspect of, and there's that aspect of Fortnite. Like I haven't played Fortnite very much. We played a little bit on 18 games at one point. But,
Okay.
But the base building aspect of Fortnite is a pretty big deal. Like in terms of that totally changes the dynamic in PUBG. Like if in PUBG you could like build stuff, that would totally change.
It seems like it
things.
makes the game longer then too, because you would be building you're building a base, and it's like, but you're also trying to have a battle royale, and like, well, if the idea is that base building's a part of the game, it's like then I have to build that into how long it's going to take me. Whereas it sounds like PUBG is a game where it's like I play for anywhere from 3 to 30 minutes on a round, depending on or 30 seconds to 30 minutes, depending on how good I am.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I feel like Fortnite's definitely, because they're like crafting destructible buildings. They're much more like, because Fortnite's been in development for a long time, and I think they're doing. It was more of like inspired by Minecraft originally.
It's sort of it's got like Minecraft and almost it's got like it's almost like tower defense. Like most of the game, the main game is actually more of a like PvE thing where like you play a team versus like these mobs of zombies and stuff that are attacking you. But then there's also this PvP part.
It's interesting that Lurcap T actually mentioned that seeing the contract would be interesting because sometimes dev contracts include a no concurrent development clause.
I doubt this one does.
Yeah, I imagine it wouldn't, because I'm sure that Epic would be very, very. They would know. They have to sign a lot of contracts all the time.
Like the thing is, because like PUBG is I doubt that clause would be in there because like PUBG is at its heart sort of an open world battle royale shooter, but like Epic, because I think Epic was working on Fortnite probably before PUBG came out. Like it's been in development for a long time. They probably would have put that in there because they were like, well, I mean, this is also sort of like an open shooting environment game. So if we sign this clause, then we have to stop working on because
who knows how they decide to refer to this as concurrent development.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
Anyhow,
So obviously, our random speculation as non-lawyers, can take that as far as it will go.
Absolutely.
But,
Yeah, we didn't-
but I feel like that's probably where, it's mostly just them being annoyed. Legitimately annoyed, but I'm sure there's no actual...
Isuru says Fortnite has been in development for like 6 years, which is why it's got all that like Minecraft base building stuff in it, right?
Okay.
And everything is weirdly springy. Like everything you hit kind of goes like boing, boing, boing. When you hit it, like it sort of wobbles a little bit.
Weird.
Like rocks and trees and stuff. It's a weird aesthetic. Anyway. All right, other stuff.
Danganronpa. Football.
That was really, because I love localization stories because it's one of those things that's people find hard to localization's really easy, and it's like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be that easy. Like it's not just I do a literal translation of what's in there. It's like, well, no, because nobody will follow along, and this is the same thing. We made fun of this, but it's the same thing. It's like if you put in the Tigers and the Giants, it'd be like, why would anyone have gotten that was a sports joke? Or, how would you break that down to that? And I'm like, sure, that makes a lot of sense. But the point that I made was also like, if you don't know about the NFL, and you especially don't know anything about that the Jets have a rivalry with whoever it was, I forget now.
Tigers.
Was it the Tiger? No, it was like...
Yomiuri Tigers?
No,
the Patriots.
The New York Jets and the New England Patriots.
The Patriots,
yeah.
yes.
New England Patriots.
That was my first introduction to knowing that the Jets and the Patriots have a thing.
I hated everybody who aren't the Patriots. I know a couple of Patriots
They're like the
fans.
new Dallas Cowboys, essentially, is that everyone hates them because they win all the time.
Yeah.
And it's also what it is that the character in the localization, the character has like a Boston accent. And so they're like, well, we'll choose an East Coast rivalry.
Because it was like, and it was like, so, but rather than do even like Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, it's like, no, we'll do the New York Jets and the New England Patriots, and we'll have, because he's like for the Jets and against the Patriots. So the Mono Cub probably has a New York accent because he's a fan of the Jets. I'm assuming this is how that breaks down. But it just a thing where I'm like, I love localization stories where little things like this come up, and it's dumb because it's like you didn't give us anything that was like, you're like, this is a big deal. It's like, it sure as hell isn't a big deal if you don't follow NFL and you don't live in the States and you don't know who the hell the Jets are. Why would you even know?
Yeah,
it's also
the Jets are a deep cut even among football teams.
Yeah.
Also,
Apparently the Patriots versus Jets rivalry is back from before the Patriots were good.
Fair
so
enough.
it's like if you know football, you're like, oh yes, that.
I guess. Sure. Yeah.
and it's also just the pardon the language, but the just seeing like this in this the title, the subtitles or the
text, right?
The dialogue in this kind of not like it's a not a silly game, but it is like this weird like
Character,
cat character being like, fuck the Patriots.
He's a bear.
He's a bear.
Or this weird bear character. It just is. So it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's a little shocking to just see that show up all of a sudden. But yeah, I'm glad. It just really felt like I don't. It didn't resonate with me, and I'm like, well, let me show you why it wouldn't have resonated. And also, for anyone who cares, the Rough Riders and the Rough Riders, for one thing, the Ottawa Rough Riders now known as the Ottawa Red Blacks, but I will never stop making the double Rough Riders joke because it's hilarious. And B...
Well, also, it was like that for like 40 years. It wasn't like a temporary lapse of judgment.
And they don't have a rivalry.
Is it that a team was moved and then they didn't change the name?
Because there's the Western Canadian Football League and the Eastern Canadian Football League, and there's a Rough Riders, there's a Saskatchewan Rough Riders in the Western, and there's the Ottawa Rough Riders in the Eastern, and the leagues merged into the Canadian Football League in the 1950s, and both these teams had been using these names for like a long time, so they just kept their names, but it was so stupid.
Yeah, and Ottawa's Rough Riders are the Ottawa Rough Riders and the Saskatchewan Rough Riders.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like it seems so weird that there were two teams named, like I've never heard the term Rough Riders used outside of like team names.
Yeah.
Or pornography.
But it's just like it's not like a cultural idiom that I know of.
Well, it was Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders.
Oh, right.
That's where that I think was originally coined, but which is weird because it's an Americanism, but if it was put me on the localization team, it would have been the Oilers versus the Flames. Or it would have been the Eskimos versus the Stampeders. It would have been an Alberta one because I've been like, fuck it, I don't care if anyone cares.
Ultimately, I feel like you could have done something where there's you referencing some sort of long-standing rivalry that isn't two sports teams.
Yeah.
To make it more grokkable, although it was a sports team thing in the original one.
And it's weird.
Like Taylor Swift and Kanye.
I feel like...
Yeah!
Yeah, right? It's just
Taylor Swift and everyone.
Well, Danganronpa has a lot of pop culture references, so you could totally have done like Taylor Swift and Kanye.
Because making it because Japanese baseball, I feel, is a lot more. Even though I'm sure there's a lot of people who aren't fans of it, everybody over there knows that the Giants and the Tigers have had this long-standing rivalry because the Giants, which were the Tokyo Kyojin, who eventually became the Yomiuri Giants, named after their sponsor. And they were the first baseball team in Japan because they were the ones who originally played like Babe Ruth's American All-Stars. And then the Osaka Tigers, which became the Hanshin Tigers, were the second They're the two oldest teams in Japan, and they have been playing for years and years and years. And the Tigers are like the scrappy upstarts who have never won since or haven't won since like the 1950s, and the Giants are like the Yankees over here. They're like pinnacle of perfection. They're always delivering, and so it's a long-standing thing that everyone just gets like you get soaked in that. And I'm like, but NFL football is not that. I don't think that NFL football is that universal a concept when you're translating into English.
Not for people who are playing Danganronpa games.
Right?
Right?
And I don't know how else you I don't know how else you translate it unless you pick a baseball team, because everyone knows about long-standing baseball rivalries. Maybe.
Yeah, Red Sox versus the Yankees is
I
what has been
actually don't-
suggested a long time.
Yeah.
I actually
Or
don't have
many
a,
times in chat.
I don't have actually perception of whether baseball or football is actually more popular in the States.
Football, I think, is more popular now in the U.S. than baseball is, but baseball, because it has such a long history, I figure is actually more injected into the pop culture.
Yeah. Chad is very surprised about how much you know about sports. You're a big fan of those SNB Nation videos.
I love SB Nation videos. I love John Boy's SB Nation videos. Those are fantastic.
All right, so other stuff. So the stories we didn't talk about. So there's this there's this really neat update to a story that we did last week. Last week we talked about the hidden golf game on the Switch, in the flog folder. On the Switch, there's this hidden golf. There's an apparent that like people disassembled or dumped the Switch file system, and they found this hidden emulator. Mm-hmm. But nobody could figure out how to actually play it. Somebody played it just by actually like directly accessing the software.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, it is golf. Okay,
it is
yeah.
they found it's golf. Not only is it golf, but it's a updated version of the emulator that actually works with the motion controls, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so it turns out, in this really amazing thing, is that it turns out that it's actually thought to be a tribute to Satoru Iwata, who's was
Former
the
president.
long-standing president of Nintendo. Not like the first president of Nintendo, but he was the president of Nintendo for a really long during most of what we consider to be Nintendo.
No, he was the one who came after. He was the one who came after. He was the upstart, because he was the most recent one before the new guy. But yeah, he's been around since like the GameCube era, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he'd worked at Nintendo for a really long time.
So what's neat is and he also wrote golf.
Yeah. When he worked at HAL. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if he did it like all by himself or mostly by himself, but he was one of the main developers anyway on golf. And so in order to access this game, and this hasn't been confirmed by Nintendo, but I believe the BBC tested it, and this is actually true.
Nice.
That you can only access it. You can only access it on
July 11th.
July 11th,
Which is his death anniversary.
which is the anniversary of his death.
Yeah.
And because of how the Switch works, you can't just set your date on your thing.
Yeah.
This will only actually work on July 11th. And then in order to access it, you use the two Switch remotes and do the trademark gesture that Iwata did quite often.
Yeah, during the Directs.
During Nintendo Directs.
Yeah.
And then that apparently accesses this, which is really neat, and it's a very touching tribute to this guy. And what's interesting is, of course, is now we're finding out about this now. So we missed it.
Yeah.
If we'd found out about it like 2 months ago,
Except
people would have tried it.
I think we still have a Switch that we have never connected to the internet.
It's true.
We could totally do it.
Maybe we could try that.
We just have to unwrap it then. But I love it because, especially because they're one of the people in the report that I saw, they went to Twitter and they were having a look, and people were saying that in Japan they're referring to it as an omomori, which is a protection charm.
It's
and
like
to
what
give it
Yuri
good
and
luck.
Victor gave each other.
Right?
Yeah.
They weren't engagement rings.
Yeah, that's right.
Omomori.
And it's such a nice. It was really just a nice thing that they did that. I just wish we'd found out about it so we could all tried it. But now it's like now I have something to look forward to the day before my birthday. This will be awesome.
Oh, is it the day before your birthday?
Yeah,
should
that
do
was
it.
fucking depressing when
Oh,
Iwata
yeah.
died the day before my birthday, and I was like, no, I'll never forget it. I guess.
But yeah, presumably, I'm looking forward to July 11th, 2018, when everyone gets
Every
to play.
Switch player.
Everyone gets to play golf. All right, other stuff.
Oh, this is the Comic-Con story is not technically gaming related news, but I thought it was very interesting. As you know, San Diego Comic-Con, the biggest comic convention in the world. There was a Salt Lake City Comic Con, not hyphenated, but with a very similar name. So San Diego sued them, being like, no, because you're going to confuse people and make it think that you're a part of our organization where you are not.
Fair.
The Salt Lake City organizer countersued, being like, no, Comic Con is just short for Comic Convention.
Yeah,
and there were like
you can't own
60
the word Comic-Con. Yeah.
Comic Cons in the States. You just happen to notice ours, and that is a generic term for a comic convention.
Yeah.
And so now that is being looked at to see if Comic Con will even still own the trademark on Comic-Con.
It's very.
So that's very interesting.
I think it's fair that Comic-Con is a pretty tough.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tough one to trademark.
It makes sense as to why I see, so Calgary started an event, and we were calling it Calgary Comic Con for a while, but it's actually the Calgary Comic and Entertainment Expo, or CCEE.
Yeah.
And all of you Americans are now thinking about the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, CCEE. That was a weird thing that happened there.
Yeah, I remember because I kept, like, when we went to the Calgary Comic Expo, I kept calling it Calgary Comic Con.
Yeah.
And I was like, I probably shouldn't call it. That probably really annoys them. I probably
Yeah.
shouldn't call it that.
It's hard. Like when you run an event, and I did. You want people to say it right, and you want people to refer. Like I had people who referred to it as Anime-a-thon. It's like no, it's Anime-thon. It's all spelled out there. Anime-thon. Please refer to it as that. But now Edmonton has the Edmonton Comic and Entertainment Expo, and it just makes me think about shit. At some point, Chicago's going to come forward and be like, you can't call these things comic and entertainment expos. We own that term, and it's like, but do you own a term like that? How else do you describe those things?
It's a generic descriptor. That's the argument.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, like, obviously this has happened before. Apparently, Escalator was a brand.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yep.
Escalator people movers, and then
Yeah.
it became a generic term, and they lost their. Because obviously, if it's just the word that people use to describe your product,
Yeah.
like asprin also used to be a trademark brand.
I mean, there's a lot
And
of
you
sort
can't
of
keep your trademark.
there's a lot of sort of misinformation about this whole, like, you have to defend your trademark thing, because trademark and copyright are different things. But there we are getting there. The part of the issue with this not only is people saying that Comic-Con is too generic a term, but also if they wanted it to be protected, then they should have been protecting it all this time,
Yeah.
rather than letting all these other things happen.
Yeah. I don't think that they'll, I think nothing will come of this. I think they're gonna
Contingent Cat says, I heard Google was getting worried about that. In fact, I believe people are starting to rumble that maybe Google has become too generic of a term. That might have been. Honestly, because Google's smart, and like because people are like, yeah, let me Google that for you, and they like this extinction of like protected copyright things. I think that might have been part of the reason that Google was like, well, we're Alphabet, but we own Google.
Yeah.
Right? So your company name didn't suddenly become untrademarked.
Well, there's also the thing.
Your legal name.
A couple
Yeah.
years ago, Adobe did a big push to stop
apparently
people
Google
saying
won their genericide lawsuit.
Photoshop. As
to stop people saying photoshopped as a thing.
Yeah.
They call it they're making it or saying that people need to say image manipulation or whatever, not actually say photoshopped.
Yeah.
Because they don't want that to be generified.
Oh, Mangled Pixel says yes. That was one of the main reasons for Alphabet, because apparently they won their genericide is when your trademark dies because it becomes a generic term. They won their genericide, but like the thing is, the writing's on the wall. Like if somebody could come back in another 10 years and challenge it again, right? Saying it's even more popular now. You know why? Q-tips or like where Kleenex are like facial tissues. They're not Kleenexes. Cotton swabs. All of that thing where like brands are like, no, it's a different thing.
Xerox.
Yeah. Oh, Xerox.
That was the big one, yeah.
Poor Xerox.
Anyway.
You literally become the household name for it.
A Monster Hunter person is going to be one of the first DLCs for Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, good. A Monster Hunter character. Out of all of the Capcom.
And Marvel properties
Yes.
that could possibly
Yeah.
be. All right.
Because Monster Hunter is like one of these super customizable things. It's a weird thing. It's like the Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Oh, the Monster Hunter itself, who you play.
Well, but they've chosen, I guess, a representative Monster Hunter. And then she has like sort of, because in Monster Hunter not only do you look, how you look is dependent on all the stuff you've got.
Yeah.
All the weapons you have is also dependent on all the stuff you've collected. So she's sort of got like a representative sampling of like the different abilities that you might have in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, apparently the full DLC list is the aforementioned Monster Hunter, Black Panther, Mega Men's Sigma, Black Widow, Winter Soldier, and Venom.
It's funny that they're putting Monster Hunter DLC into Marvel vs. Capcom because Monster Hunter is also getting Legend of Zelda DLC, which then makes me wonder what's the DLC, the special DLC that they'll shove into Legend of Zelda. It'll be from an unrelated game, and then how do we complete the circle eventually?
Yeah. But for some reason I found it because like, I mean, I guess it's a little different with Marvel vs. Capcom as opposed to just like straight Street Fighter or whatever. But it seems like the Monster Hunter has a bit of a, in comparison to some of the other characters, it seems like she's got a pretty solid advantage. Like she has
Armor and
armor and ginormous shields and all sorts of weapons.
Yeah.
And is used to fighting enormous monsters and things. I mean, I guess other guys have superpowers.
Yeah, how do you stand against Spider-Man?
Chat brings up a good point. They're like, well, you know who's 100,000% hyped for this? This, of course, would be one Adam Savadan, member of our crew, who's a huge Monster Hunter fan and Marvel vs. Capcom fan. So for him, this is just like Christmas has come
Two
early.
great things that taste great together.
Oh God, this would be like Beige. What are your two favorite franchises, or one of your two favorite franchises?
Okay, so we'd start with like probably Legend of Zelda, and then we'd have to mash it up with some sort of like. It would have to be another video game, wouldn't it? Does it have to be a video game?
Yeah.
Oh damn. Legend of Zelda and Metroid. Damn it, this doesn't work for me. Mash that up, and what would you have? Super Smash Brothers.
Oh
Yeah, we
yeah,
have that.
you've already been given your pure feed of fan service.
Sequels upon sequels of it. So yeah,
I don't know. This
I
would
don't
be
get
like-
excited anymore about anything.
This would be like, for me, it would be like, oh hey, there's some, I don't know, Mega 10 DLC where you can put Persona characters in, or vice versa.
Oh yeah. They're making a new Mega 10 game, aren't they?
I mean,
Persona
it'll be done
characters.
when it's done.
Yeah.
Persona characters showing up in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, possibly. Although I'm not as into the Final Fantasy 13 really kills a lot of my enthusiasm for that franchise. 15's supposed to be good, but it's just not my kind of game.
Another little random piece of news that I saw that amused me. If you've got an extra, if you're a big fan of the Batman Arkham Knight video game,
Oh, I
From
got Tokyo
20
Mirage Sessions. That's
from
my
2015.
fan.
Oh, there
That's
you
my-
go.
You got some Fire Emblem in there.
Fire Emblem and Atlas games.
So, Batman Arkham Knight came out in 2015. If you were a huge fan of it for whatever reason, and you have an extra $900 lying around,
Like we all do.
yeah, like you often do, you could buy a 33-inch high
Oh Jesus.
statue, one of only 350 being made, of Batman in his Batman Beyond white version. I mean, it looks like a pretty sweet
All his greebly armor, yeah.
statue. It is very intricately detailed, as one would expect for $900.
I mean, it's damn near a meter tall, so I kind of get it.
Yeah.
But that means you have to have that standing in your living room or somewhere. I mean, what do? You build a lamp into it? Like with a bat signal, right? That projects in the ceiling.
No, it's just got like the sexy leg lamp.
Oh
right?
But it's just like that's like Batman was great.
Yeah.
But this is like your target market here, people who really like collectibles,
Yeah.
who are willing to spend $900 on a really high quality collectible,
Which also means that they're incredible fans of Arkham Knight.
who are huge fans of a game that came out 2 years ago, and who are also fans of this like alternate costume of like it's not even the actual costume that he wears in the game. It's one of the alternate costumes you can get in the game.
I mean, can you use it like an amiibo? Can you like beep it against your system, or would it would
I
just
don't
crush
think
it?
so.
wouldn't it?
Yeah.
All this
I think
49. All this 49 says for $900, I want the actual Batman.
I think actual Batman would be more expensive than
Yeah.
that. It should be, if you're gonna make it a meter tall, why not just make it life size? Like at that point, then it just looks
Yeah.
like weird, like half-size Batman.
Oh yeah, it's like little chibi Batman.
It's
Yeah.
like that. It's like we had that standee of Vin Diesel for a while.
Right.
That was like 3/4 height,
Yeah.
and so it just like it was tall enough that it looked like it almost looked real, but it just looked like Vin Diesel was only 4 feet tall.
Yeah, which is not good because he is bigger than that. He's not a big man, but he is bigger than that. Like, jeez.
Let's see, anything else?
Also, how did Arkham Knight even do?
Fine.
Like,
it was
is it
like
fine?
the worst
It was-
game in the series by like
good.
all
It
accounts.
was fun. Like James and I actually played it on
Yeah, it was
on
in the
18
highlight
games
reel.
a while ago,
Okay.
and it's really silly.
Yeah, you
and it
driving
was super
into
fun. Like you're like driving around in like the Bat car.
Was that the one where you went into the
Yeah.
moat?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It was a little difficult to control the Bat car. Let me just.
I like this.
see.
Hey guys, I brought a scale model of my new halfling character. Good one, Myrnis.
Oh yeah. So this actually sounded kind of a cool thing. At Tokyo Game Show, there was a. This isn't news of something coming out, but there was this in order to advertise their dating simulators, I guess.
Yeah.
There were a bunch of booths set up by
Voltage?
Voltage. Yes.
Yeah.
They do a whole bunch of stuff, but this was in order to advertise their romance titles. They set up a bunch of booths that emulated scenes from 3 different games.
That you could live out.
So you could live them out. They had like an assortment of handsome dudes at each place, because these are ones where you're romancing guys.
Yeah.
Otome games.
I don't want to be shitty about it, but they have like 2 handsome Japanese guys and the only European they could find. Because I was kind of like, the dude is not a male model. He's a good-looking guy, but it's like you can tell from the other 2 guys they hired that I was like, you went deep into the stack to find the cutest boys you could, and then you found this European guy who was available as well, who was like, he's reasonably good. He's like good-looking, like I'm good-looking.
He's
but he's not
reasonably
like,
good-looking, and he speaks fluent Japanese. Sign him up.
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's the thing, right? It's like he's good-looking, like I'm good-looking. You're not 10 out of 10, but you're maybe like 7. So, yeah.
I just thought we were all like solid 7s around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so the idea, so it's this interesting thing. It reminded me a little bit of I don't know if you've seen. There's that movie, Jane Austen Land.
No, what?
It's a great movie, by the way.
Okay.
But the premise of the movie is that there's this resort basically that you can go to, and live out one of the like Jane Austen stories. Like there's a bunch of guys there who represent different archetypes in Jane Austen stories.
Oh, so this
and
is
they'll romance you in different ways.
This is a resort for women.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a movie. It's a really good movie. But
Cool.
anyway, but it sort of reminded me a little bit of like a compressed version of that, where it's basically like because they had different stereotypes because the different games that they're representing operate in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And so like one of the guys was like super, commanding, was like a commanding samurai, and one of them was like really romantic, and one of them was different stuff, and then
Like
you get like a makeover as part of it.
Yeah,
and
they're
different
like,
things, so.
it's basically
Well,
trying
makeover, I
to
mean-
they're trying to recreate the experience of playing one of these games in real life as
Yeah.
which is a cool booth idea.
And I thought it was funny too because it was written by Allegra Frank, and she had said how I've played these before, so now that I'm in these situations, I basically went along with the scenario as I understood it. But it sounded to me like if you hadn't played these games before, you'd be a little concerned as to what was about to happen to you.
Absolutely terrified of what this strange man was doing. And then one last thing, actually another Allegra Frank thing. She played a VR game called Summer Lesson at the Tokyo Game Show, which is actually just supposed to be a conversation sim.
Okay.
But she found it absolutely terrifying because the person got like right up
Whoa.
into your face and would like circle you.
that's not
And
okay.
without controls, all it like just tracks to head movements. She was just like too close, 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 like the whole time.
Also, apparently, it actually is like a kind of a horror thing. Like at one point, I think she actually like stabs you with a sword or something.
Fuck.
Well, she's doing magic tricks.
Yes.
Oh, good.
The
But in the-
idea is that it's supposed to be like a magic thing, like ha! But they've inadvertently created like a horror movie because
Yeah.
it's like.
Because basically you could just nod and shake your head, and every time you nod, she just gets closer to you.
I was trying to imagine what that looks like. Is that the character that you're playing in game is tied to a chair with a thing around your mouth?
Yeah.
That's what they're aiming for?
I don't know.
I feel like we did that as a crap shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that is about it for stuff. The Tokyo Game Show happening just last week made things a little bit weird in terms of news.
Did we even address the Sonic Forces Hooters thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
don't-
the coming up.
That was
the
the
coming up, yeah.
Okay.
And we didn't talk about it. There isn't actually any, like, the reason why we did that is the coming up, because we were like, oh, this is a great story, but there's no actual info about it. There's just,
Yeah.
they said, apparently Sonic Forces is teaming up with Hooters for a promotional
Well,
deal.
and Hooters in Japan is trying to become more of a family-friendly restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of trying to do that everywhere, but it's like, especially in Asia, I think, is their big push, because Famidras is a big thing over there.
Well, yeah, also, like, I feel like Hooters is too far gone in North America to rebrand. Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
But, Asia, they have less baggage, so it might take.
I guess.
There's
I
kinda
guess the
that-
question is if they're rebranding to be more family friendly, then what is their? They need a different shtick then,
I think
right?
it's like
Yeah. MTV CDM says, like, you're literally named Hooters.
yeah.
Are they just gonna like be like, no, we're actually about owls now?
Like because when they were showing the pictures of Sonic standing with the women, it's like they're still in the tight tank tops and the tight little shorts, and I'm like, yeah, that's you're not gonna what that is just America sexy as opposed to like Anna Miller's, which is a family restaurant where the girls had like they had tops that really accentuated their bust, and it was the it's kind of like the dirndl, right?
Oh,
Where
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
everything kind of pushed up and everything
They have,
else.
like a little corset part.
Kind of, but then they had a huge billowy blouse that came out the front that made it look like you had just an enormous chest. And if you had an enormous chest, that helped as well. And it was like, this was Anna Miller's look, and it became a fetish thing among, because of
people.
course it did, among people in general. So I'm like, there's room for America sexy in the family restaurant environment, I guess, in Japan anyway.
Actually, I do love the idea of Hooters turning into like an owl cafe, like you know,
Yeah.
the cat cafes. Like basically, like you eat and just like
There's owls hanging out. I like that.
That seems like
Owls pooping in your
yeah. I was
food,
gonna say
vomiting
like
up
that
mouse
seems
carcasses.
like a ridiculously terrible idea.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen what happens when owls are great in like either little clips or like pictures of owls being cute on YouTube on like Reddit. I feel like owls, as a long term or in a sustained environment, not so good. They have like the most blood-curdling screech.
I thought I heard about an owl cafe in Japan though. That there was one
there's
that
lots
existed.
in Japan. There was one that.
Owl cafes?
Yes,
Yeah.
there are owl cafes
They
in
have
Japan.
little tiny
But
owls.
small owls, like not like barn owls and like
Great
screech
snowy
owls
owl.
and stuff. Like little tiny small
I didn't
owls.
realize that owl cafes actually
Yeah,
exist.
they're a real thing. We didn't go to any because I'm always extremely concerned.
Not
that,
the killer owls, but yeah.
No, I'm always just concerned that like the focus of the business is on getting money in the door, not the welfare of the animals. So I just can't bring myself to go to any of those things.
That's fair. Like,
Japanese people don't have a great track record with doing things that are like animal welfare specific, to be honest with you.
well, and no, but it's like, yeah, like if the emphasis was the welfare of the animals, it would be like a animal refuge, right?
Yeah.
Like clearly, it's not
That's true.
the
yeah.
emphasis, right?
I mean, yeah, and it's not like we have to save these owls. Let's put them in a cafe. It's like, no, you have to save
Like-
these owls. You have to put them in a sanctuary.
Like the owls
Yeah.
that are
Yeah, why don't you have an owl sanctuary where I can just buy a coffee?
yeah.
The owls that are like antisocial and don't want to hang out with people probably don't last too long in the owl cafe.
But
Yeah,
all
but that's the
owls are
thing.
antisocial and don't want to hang out with people.
It's just they had a hard time in Owl High School, and they're just kind of like they'd rather just be on the net with other owl friends. So
Yeah, a couple people saying that Marshall went to an owl cafe and he thought it was cool, but they were
right.
also like chained to their perches.
oh,
And I can't do it. I like animals too much. I don't want to give them my money. There's some cat cafes in North America, and because our animal welfare laws are a lot stricter here, that they're probably better. And I would go to like a Canadian cat cafe probably, but I just.
it's just easier to make a Canadian-made cafe.
And I'm not saying all animal cafes in Japan are bad. I'm just saying I would want to do my research to look into their practices and make sure that the animals are being treated well, and that's very difficult when you don't speak Japanese, so I just tend to avoid. Like, anytime I go to, like, anything like, kind of like, because I've been to, like, I go to, like, zoos and aquariums, right? Because
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
looking at animals, and I think learning about them in their natural environment is really important. And there's lots of well-rated attractions, even in Japan, with like good environments for stuff. But like I always look it up before I go because I don't want to go see sad animals because it'll make me really miserable.
That's fair,
It sounds
yeah.
like they're talking about there's a cat cafe in Ottawa that is basically just like a showroom for like an adoption thing.
Perfect. And then you could also just get tea and coffee there.
And it
That seems fine.
and also like doing it with something like cats or even like or dogs or something like that are like inherently social animals,
Right.
is a lot different than putting. I mean, I don't really know anything about owls, but I feel like they're not as like it's not a natural environment for them. That it's probably quite stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I was led to believe that you can keep an owl as a pet or several owls as a pet, and it's fine because you live in an idyllic rural Canadian community and everything is okay. And that is perfectly allowed and justified. And I don't know what you can do about keeping them in a cafe because Farley Moe didn't write a book about that.
Right. Also, owls are nocturnal.
There's that too. Though the Moat Man had a great idea.
So
they should just have all the girls at Hooters dress up in anthropomorphic owl costumes. I'm like, owl kigurumi, just serving food in owl kigurumi? That's a great idea. I mean, they'd get dirty with wing sauce and shit, so they have to keep changing. But
Or they just launder the costumes frequently. That's not
fair.
a problem.
Yeah,
They should be laundered frequently
It is-
anyhow.
agreed.
In fact, actually, rather than like kigurumi style,
Yeah.
just like actual like mascot costume
Yeah,
style.
just big mascot owls with
they're like,
huge tits.
Where they're like looking out they're like looking out the beak.
Or the arm comes out the beak to hand you your meal. That's disturbing.
If anybody is like, well, I want to see animals, but I want to make sure that they're treated well too. Try to find like attractions that do like naturalistic settings for the animals. Like I went to the Healesville Sanctuary in Australia, and that's all Australian animals in natural Australian settings. So like they can wander around, and so it's like, oh yes, I see some dingoes over there, right? Like
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah. It's-
like obviously their enclosures are designed for maximum viewing,
Yeah,
but
but
like
it's meant to be a refuge.
Yeah, I mean it's most like they're most zoos, especially in North America and stuff, are
pretty good
Are pretty
about
good. Like
that.
there's accreditation stuff and things. So I don't think
Yeah.
you need to feel too bad about going to like zoo situations.
Well, I mean, then again, like the Vancouver Zoo, which I think is now closed, for many years was like rated as one of the cruelest places you could put an animal, right? You know.
Jesus.
So you never know. Look into it if you care about it.
But
And
but yeah, clearly, actually, you know, with owls being nocturnal, what you need is like rather than like an owl cafe, you need like an owl internet cafe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like owl 24-hour internet cafe, and maybe or maybe it's like it's like some sort of diurnal animal during the day, and then there's like a shift change.
So it's
when the owls come in.
It's cats during the day and owls during the night. So
You would want to make sure that they're separated.
Clean out all the two, exactly. But I love the idea of like being in an internet cafe and sitting down to Skype someone from home and just having an owl perched on my shoulder while I talk to them like nothing is going on.
The owl's just fucking digging in too.
Yeah,
it's just like
grabbed on with his talons. It's like, I'm having a great time here at the Owl Internet Cafe.
like blood just starts coming through your shirt.
Maybe it's like maybe like pigeons or
Geese. I don't know why I went to geese. It's a terrible idea.
You know what animal would probably be very happy?
A geese cafe is just
You know what?
a bunch of people enter the cafe and are never allowed to leave because the geese are guarding the door.
You know what animals would be very happy in a cafe is probably like domesticated rats.
Oh yeah.
Lots of like places to tunnel around in and stuff like that, and like
Yeah.
tubes to go. But the thing is, people don't want a rat cafe. They don't want to eat with rats.
That's
In fact, like there's health inspectors that make sure you don't have rats in your cafe.
I was gonna say, like, if you see a place that's like, we've taken our downside and turned it into an advantage.
No kidding, right?
We used to have rats running everywhere. Now we still have rats running everywhere, but
you
that's
can-
part of the marketing.
But you can pet them if you really want to. I don't
Jesus.
recommend it.
It's now just reminding me of that feed dump story we did about that baby running around the restaurant, like with it in its bare ass, hanging out the entire time. Oh yeah. Climbing on tables. Anyway.
Polish that turd.
Yeah. Bunny cafe. That would work except for the pooping everywhere part.
Yeah. Splash from Irridan.
Although
where
you can't
Canada,
actually train rabbits to poop in a litter box.
Yeah.
Splash from Irridan, the reason why we send the rest of the world Canada geese, it's because we're making a statement. Mm-hmm. We're sending you a message.
Also, a ferret cafe. I mean, a ferret cafe would only work if they were the descented ferrets.
Oh yeah. Skunks are cute when they're descented too, apparently.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, they're cute even when they're scented, as long as you don't have to like smell them, I guess.
Yeah. As long as you don't mess with them, they're cute.
I didn't realize that ferrets like have an odor.
They
have a stank gland.
Yeah,
Wow.
ferrets have a serious thing.
It's not okay.
Yeah, skunk cafe would be problematic. Although a skunk cafe would be like, especially if you had like skunks that weren't going to spray people. That would be like one of those things. Like at that point, you could get it to the level of like I feel like you get it to the level of like getting the blowfish sushi.
Oh yeah.
Like almost as being like I went to the skunk cafe and all I got was this T-shirt or whatever. Like actually have it as like part of your marketing.
All
thing.
I got was this T-shirt I have to throw out.
Yeah.
This apology T-shirt because it ruined my clothes.
They're not ruined if you let them like air outside for like 6 or 7 months. The scent will eventually go away.
Put them outside in the winter while it's snowing or raining. Yeah, it'll.
Coconut crab
clean.
cafe. Yeah. Ridiculously.
No trash panda cafes. I think a raccoon cafe could be kind of cute.
Red panda cafe.
Raw red panda cat. I would never leave.
Oh,
my
no,
God.
but that wouldn't be like. There's no.
would
The
not be
problem
okay.
the problem being every animal I really want to like hang out with is not an animal that wants to hang out with me in an enclosed setting.
Yeah.
The red
It's-
pandas wouldn't be happy. They want to go in trees and be adorable.
Yeah, and shit on
It's
the ground.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like like a sloth cafe would be awesome.
that would be
except-
pretty awesome.
But sloths are susceptible to stresses and stuff. So you wouldn't want to mess with them.
Absolutely not.
They're more of a thing to appreciate from afar, I think.
I mean, it turns out I think all undomesticated animals are happier if you appreciate them from afar.
Ace Steve says all my favorite animals are aquatic, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with having a dolphin cafe. I just think you'd have to find the right setting for it.
I actually wouldn't be surprised because there's swim up bars
Yeah.
already, right? Like
Yeah.
you just have like kind of a floating bar. So just have that, but like also dolphins.
Surrounded by dolphins, yeah.
Weagle Cafe. It's the Hotel California of cafes. You check out once, but you never leave.
It was the Wego Cafe was actually just a cafe. They just can't get rid of the week.
Yeah, and now it's surrendered to the Weagles. The Weagles are actually there learning to use the espresso maker.
Yeah, you just walk in and there's like two people serving you, going like, "Yes, this is a Wego Cafe. Help us."
I'm glad you're here. Please hold this for a minute.
All right. I
Okay.
think we're done. I think
Yeah.
we've had a very long chat about animal cafes.
we-
I don't
we-
even
we-
know. I don't remember. Hooters.
Hooters.
This is how we got started.
How we got started on this. Basically, I don't see how Hooters could change their image. Like, if they wanted to become like more family friendly and drop the whole, ladies in tight clothes thing, then there's no point in them being called Hooters, right? Like, there's no other aspect of Hooters that people aren't interested in Hooters food
No.
or whatever,
Their
right? Like,
atmosphere.
so if they I could see all of the Hooters store things being like just totally changing their name to a different name.
Yeah,
What's the point?
yeah, because you have all that name recognition, so-
just to, it's like we want to become a family restaurant
Yeah.
now, but spending a whole bunch of time and effort and money to make it so that people stop associating Hooters with ladies in scanty clothes doesn't seem productive. Like, at that point, why bother calling it Hooters?
Yeah, because if you did that,
That
you'd
was like
have
the
to-
only thing you had
And
going.
the thing is, like, if you just want to be a more family-friendly restaurant, great. Well, family chain restaurants are going the way of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could be another Applebee's, which people are not going to anymore. So that seems like a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is our unsolicited advice to Hooters.
Marketing advice: you're a dinosaur in a dying industry. Family chain restaurants.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching the show, and stay tuned for Matters of Import.
Yes.
tonight, I think.
What are you guys playing tonight, Beej?
We're doing a backlog blitz.
Ooh.
There will be probably, I think, a maximum of 3 games we will find in the backlog at random.
Oh.
So we don't know what we're gonna. It's just basically like, let's screw around. Let's see what happens.
That sounds great.
We gotta get through it. So let's see. Let's
Yeah,
see.
you guys do have a lot of games.
We
to
might
play.
pull some gold, even if we can't
true.
understand it.
You won't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah.
It's the hope.
We should welcome subs.
Oh yeah, right.
Then
we can have lunch.
Yeah.
Sec to do who the person.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of hungry considering it's 3:30.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh my god, I made the most decadent breakfast for myself today.
Yeah.
Yesterday, because it was Sunday, I made scrambled eggs with tomato and bell pepper and sausage in them, and then put hollandaise sauce on top.
Nice. Nice.
And we had all this
Solid.
leftover hollandaise sauce, so I made myself an omelet, and then I put like a tablespoon of hollandaise sauce in the bottom of the omelet, and then flipped it over and finished cooking the omelet.
Oh.
So it like cut into it, and just warm hollandaise sauce came out, and I was like, I'm so smart.
All right, let us welcome some subs, starting with Elihu Aron for 16 months, coming up with my sub twins, because that's how babies work, right?
And Bodie McVote Jr. for 9 months as actual sub baby. Get on the checkpoint.
Bitter One has subscribed for 7 months in a row. Thank you, Bitter One.
Rourke 9 for 10 months in a row. Thank you very much.
And Lawrence72 for 3 months. Resubbing during checkpoint means my game is saved and I can reload my life from this point, right? Yes. Yes.
Yes. Kazaman 28 for 13 months says for Beej included checkpoint.
Thank you.
Gamerwife 1206 for 1 whole year. Yay, my anniversary with Check Beach.
Double at 14 for 45 months. Never subbed for checkpoint before. Graham, you look different. I agree.
Tangle Pixie has resubscribed for 7 months in a row. Thank you, Tangle Pixie.
P. Triller or PT Riller is a new subscriber. Welcome.
And Waffle Unleashed is back for the 6th month in a row. Welcome back, Waffle.
Hey, it's your friend Voldirian. He's been here for 6 whole months, and he's going to keep being here, maybe. Thank you.
Agile Mania for 1 whole year. Longtime viewer, 1 year subber. Thank you very much.
Pandora Fortune Cookie's a new subscriber. Welcome to the channel, Pan.
Going medium for 12 months, hitting that 1 year, says, yay, thanks for a great year. Congratulations.
Reser 6 for 9 months. All right, I have a baby to have.
They sneak up on you, and thanks for those 301 bits from Earthen1, Foxmar320, Kazman20A, and Xanto69. Nice.
Ah. Well, a lot of 1 year people there.
That's so good, eh?
That's so good.
I
yeah.
love when we do a string of them in a row, and it's like, oh man, you all came back.
Yeah.
But you all started at the same time. You're like a cohort.
It's true. I mean, I think that's for me, like, when the subscriptions, obviously getting new subscriptions is great.
Yeah.
And I love that. But I think people, when it say, like, has subscribed for 2 months,
Yeah.
that's the big, because that means that they subscribed once and they didn't immediately regret it.
Yeah. And they came
And
back
they
the
decided
next month.
to come back.
Yeah.
And obviously, we appreciate everybody who comes and subscribes. But
I love just seeing how big the numbers are getting. Like 49 months was one I saw the other day, and I'm like, I can't even.
We've been doing this for so long.
It's so amazing, right? Longer than a lot of people have been doing it on Twitch, in fact, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yep. So thank you all so much for supporting us in that way. Stay tuned for Matters of Import, and then I think on Tuesday we've got a whole bunch of
It's like
New Day.
triple stacked for New Day Tuesday because a bunch of stuff is coming out because we're getting to that. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
So yeah, I think Ian's going to be playing the new racing game.
You know,
don't
we
know what
have
it's
a we
called.
have a Slack thread just for this.
We
Let me look it
do.
up.
We do.
Forza.
Forza?
I don't think
No,
it's Forza.
It's not Forza.
What the hell is it? Please look it up in the Slack.
1 second. I just need to. All right. So, wait. The New Day.
Project Cars 2.
Project Cars 2. And then Ian's doing that from 6 to 9, by the way, because there's
Nice.
so many different things. Where do
And
we-
he works during the day, so he has to come
New
in.
Day.
Yeah.
All right, so Hive Swap is going to. I think Alex is going to be playing Hive Swap,
I believe that's right, yeah.
and Mavel is out as well. And I think Adam was looking at that, but I know it's at least Hive Swap, and Project Cars 2.
Okay.
So that's Alex and Ian coming up tomorrow.
Woo. All right, and so yeah, thank you everybody, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.